Yeah, there's lots of smoke out here, huh? Hey, hey. You chill, pal. The neighbor's dog doesn't know me very well. Here you've got good references all the way to the house that you can see in the foreground. The V of the mountains in the background that's probably only 3 miles away, 4 miles away, straight shot. Maybe in a minute. I'm taking a video right now. The neighbor's kid wants to show me something he did on a paper. So you can see the visibility's been reduced to pretty short range here around my house today. Let's go around here. So here you can see both roads going each direction, and it gives you a pretty good idea of how far visibility is. So if I was standing in either direction 2 miles away from my house, I wouldn't be able to see my house, because that's what it looks like visibility is here today. And this smoke cloud just moved in over the course of yesterday and today. We went to bed one night and it wasn't here, and the next morning couldn't see these mountaintops. There's mountaintops right here. You can barely see them through the smoke and the power cables, but they're right here. So that's Spanish Fork Canyon. And I just figured I kind of had to make this video, or it'd be kind of a cop-out, like a lie by way of omission in a form of denial, and throw it with the video that I took on my last trip home from Washington, where I drove through a similar cloud. And we'll show you the sun. It's not quite where you can look directly at it with your naked eye, but during sunset and sunrise it is, because then the sun is right down here even with the thickest smoke. So this is Labor Day 2020. And I'm not sure exactly where these fires are that are producing this smoke, because there's so many of them all around us. But the other day, I think it was Friday, on my way home, I stopped at the hot springs, and there was a lady behind the counter as the cashier, and some guy was talking to her about how there's a fire in Sardine Canyon. And it was a truck who had his load of hay that he was hauling light on fire while he was driving it. And I turned back around and said, "Now, did you hear how that happened?" And he said it was because the exhaust was up there behind the truck. I'm trying to get it focused. It's not doing very good. He said the exhaust somehow lit the hay bales that were stacked on the flatbed behind him on fire while he was driving. And I found that peculiar. If it was a common instance, then they wouldn't practice that as a regular thing, and I think they do. Maybe he flicked a cigarette. I don't know. I just thought that was unusual. So yeah, the fires are all around. That's all. Had to make this video, or it would be a form of denial. Because I'm the fire guy. And they've chased me. They've been all around me, literally. My neighbor's house, right? It was this one. They've just redone it so much. His house burned up in the back with a plasma fire. Right up here on this mountain, halfway up, right about here, was another plasma fire. I went up and documented it up there after it had hit. And right over here in Spanish Fork Canyon that you can't even see right now was 2 years ago. It's either this canyon, I think it's this canyon that you definitely can't see right now. There's another canyon over here. Just for visual representation, we'll use this one. That's Springville Canyon. Spanish Fork Canyon was over here a couple of years ago, the first plasma fire I documented. So literally, it's hit all around me. And today, it's actually like, I actually predicted that maybe this is really the reason we need the masks. Is because there would be ash particle in the air from the smoke from these fires. They just didn't want to tell you that, so they said the whole corona thing. And today I'm feeling pretty prophetic because you can't see in either direction. And this just moved in over the last day, over the last 24 hours. So that's the story here on Labor Day in Springville, Utah. I figured I would finish off this video by filming this post in this yellow glow of the smoke-filtered sun. You can see visibility range right there with those 3 hills. And this is a pole from my neighbor's house that I pointed out just now that has the same straight line burn as those guardrail posts that I filmed in Arizona a couple videos back. Unburned on these 2 sides, all the way burned on these 2 sides with a straight line here and here. And this is what I mean when I say I can see the signs of plasma burn. Even on the one that was up here in the canyon, it had all the same burn patterns. Of the plasma fires. And these are 90% smoke, as I've said before, and that's why the air is filled today. These fires are smokier than normal fires because they sizzle it black like this without even burning it, without combustion. And it's prior to combustion that a fire gives off the most smoke. When you're trying to start a fire and you're blowing on it, and then it finally combusts, the smoke disappears. But prior to combustion, when it's just sizzling and you're trying to get it to combust, is when it smokes the most. And so per acre, these fires put out 10 times the smoke per acre that they burn because of the way that it burns. And this is one of the plasma fire poles that was standing vertical at my neighbor's house, and it was just standing right next to the telephone poles out on the corner. And they took it down the first day and got rid of it. And I found it in the weeds where they'd tossed it a couple days later. Is it poetic? Is it like videography poetry here that I'm doing? In the yellow light of the smoke-filtered sun. This line is slightly off from the actual corner of where the board would come together, but it's still a straight line. It's just slightly off from the actual 90-degree angle where the board was manufactured. So how does a fire burn a board like this on these two sides? I would propose it's like light. Light hits at this direction and hits both sides. From this direction to that direction, it hits both sides. Till this, where it hits more of the right side. So if the light were to hit like that, it would only hit one side. But from this angle, it hits two sides, clear around to this angle where it still hits the two sides, and from here it would only hit one side again. And what it actually did, it came from anywhere from this angle, clear around to this angle, and hit those two sides. And that's why it left a perfect burn, much like a shadow line. Like a heat lamp that shined on this board. And both of the telephone poles beside it, both also had a perfect straight line going up and down them. I'll include links in the description. And one of those had the straight line underneath a piece of corner molding that had a wire beneath it, a copper wire. And that black line burnt that telephone pole a straight line right up the center of that piece of corner molding with the copper under it, and it even burnt the corner molding a perfect straight line right up the center of the corner molding. And the firemen told my stepdad, according to my stepdad, they told the guy that it was a fire that was started from a cigarette butt. But as you can see, that's not the case. Because fire doesn't burn perfectly on two sides of a board and leave the other two sides untouched. Nor does it burn a straight line. Right up and down the corner. Trying to get the perfect lighting here. There we go, I'm really trying to impress you here. Because for those who haven't seen it, even for those who have, it's a good refresher of what's really going on here. All right, that's enough.